Okay, moving on. Pilot agreement, pilot allocation agreement, division part. What is the status, Pat?
What we did is I presented you 2
I'm a
months ago.
ventriloquist.
2 months ago with a draft of the pilot allocation agreement. I was given a number of suggested corrections, which we have since made. I did not have the exhibits, so in July, I believe July 13th or July 14th, I forwarded to each of the board members the exhibits and asked for any input that you might have. I haven't heard anything from anyone. In the interim, we've circulated the amendments to the county attorney's office, to the Von Schenek firm, and as well to the Ferrara firm. We now have a final draft. Everybody has signed off on the agreement, and we're in the process of trying to get the changes
Who is everybody?
made.
Who is everybody?
The attorneys,
The attorneys.
with regards to the
So
legals.
hopefully at the next meeting, you will have a final draft with exhibits to go forward with.
It's my understanding from talking to certain school board members and certain county legislators that they have seen nothing. They have heard nothing. It's been pin drop silent. They don't know what's going on. They haven't seen. They're not being appraised or updated on it. The problem is this. Is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but bond debt retirement on that $600,000 is 2022. That's 8 years, Pat. And if you figure the interest on that, you're going to have to come up with roughly $100,000 a year to retire that. I don't believe that Hampton Inn's going to generate that kind of money. The school board collected $65,000, and to the best of my information, at last questioning, you hadn't sent the Hampton Inn a tax bill, and neither had the county. If we add up what's possibly to be gained during taking all the taxes that all three agencies assessed for the next 8 years, you will not retire the debt on this your $600,000 bill.
Well, the agreement provides for a reconciliation starting in 2013, so there will be a reconciliation. My understanding is that the agency has been involved and will be involved in doing the necessary billings. There is already a pilot agreement in place that was signed in 2011. This is the allocation agreement as to the distribution of the funds, and there are statutory requirements with regard to pilot allocation.
Sadly, part
But
of
I
that,
believe we've complied.
part of that agreement, actually, the lack of the allocation agreement. If you read the language closely, it says there is no pilot. If there is no pilot allocation agreement within a specified amount of time, there is no pilot.
Right, but everybody has an opportunity to extend that, and I haven't been advised. We've been working with the Von Schenek firm who's representing the agency. We've been working with the county attorney's office and the Ferrara firm, and no one has raised that as an issue, and everyone's well aware of that language.
Well,
It certainly can be extended.
July 13th of 2011, I asked the question in the town board minutes.
Yeah,
December 12th of 2012, I asked the minutes again, or I asked about it again. I think that it's becoming obvious to me that the money to retire that is going to come out of the pockets of the residents of the town of Hartford.
You will have a breakdown. One of the exhibits that I provided you with is a breakout. It was given to us by our bond people after the bonds were sold, which shows all the money's coming in and all the money's going out, and it looks like a positive flow to me. Did you see the exhibit?
Yes, I did. Actually, I did. The problem is, Herb, is that 2 years and 1 month later, don't you think the pilot allocation agreement should have been in place before the money was spent?
Well,
Don't you think a matter of funding it is, you know, the horse leading the cart, not the cart leading the horse?
Don, I firmly believe we've acted diligently, as has each of the attorneys involved in this. You're dealing with 4 different attorneys representing 4 different entities, trying to put this agreement together, and I think we have the agreement in place. So,
25 months later,
well,
and we don't
do you want me not to do an eminent domain? Do you want me not to take easements?
We don't
Don,
have an agreement.
I'm supposed to be working 10 hours a week. I work 30 hours a week on town stuff. You want me not to do the other stuff when we have an emergency? We have to take stuff by eminent domain? Everybody's worked on this thing, we've all worked very diligently, and I think we now have an agreement.
Okay. Don, you have an executive session.
Right, and that's